Hello all, welcome to today's session. So we are going to discuss Walt Whitman's passage to India today, particularly the last stanza, the ninth stanza. So in the eighth stanza, we know that the poet had already started a voyage in the company of the soul. The voyage is to the realm of God to achieve a divine union. Okay, and in between he went on at length describing about his thoughts, okay, that he would beget at the voyage. He even shared his fears of meeting that Almighty, when he went on describing the God in terms of language, and when he met with failure, suddenly a kind of fear rushed into his mind, and in that context he planned like he would turn to the company of the soul. The soul is there, he knows everything, he knows the orbits to pass, move through the trackless seas, and also that he can merge with he will be taken to the realm of God. And towards the last section of the eighth stanza, we have also seen an imaginative union with the God. So although he feels frightened, at the end he concludes it like this, in the sense like that fear is concluded like this: when I meet this big brother, the God will be an elder brother, and he will be enjoying the warmth, okay, of his love as a younger one in his arms. So this was how we stopped the discussion of stanza 8. Then moving on to the ninth stanza, passage to more than India. Are thy wings plumed indeed for such far flights? A soul, voyagest thou indeed on voyages like those? Disportest thou on waters such as those? Soundest below the Sanskrit and the Vedas, then have thy bend unleashed. So over here, India is given as a spiritual kingdom. So passage to India is not just a passage to any spiritual kingdom, but passage to God. Okay, so it's a passage not to just any spiritual kingdom. So that's why he is saying passage to more than India. And he asks the soul, just because he is taking the voyage towards the realm of God in the company of the soul, as we know. So he again fixes the situation, okay, makes it certain. Are thy wings plumed indeed for such far flight? So earlier he was using the metaphor of a ship. Again he used mounting a hill, okay, trying to reach the realm of God. Then right now he compares, okay, the capacity. He takes the capacity of the soul, that it is able to fly high like a bird. So he goes on asking the soul, are thy wings, okay, the soul is compared to a bird, are thy wings plumed, okay, that large feathers, and if your wings are strong enough indeed for such far flights, because we're going to cover such long distances. Are you strong enough? Okay, these far flights over here means that deeply spiritual flights, so as to reach the God, the super soul. Well, O soul, voyagest thou indeed on voyages like those? Okay, so have you ever gone for? Are you very sure? Okay, we can go for such a voyage. Have you done it before? Disportest thou on waters such as those? Do you enjoy such a kind of a voyage on such kinds of deep waters, okay, waters of mystery, the very route towards the realm of God? Soundest below the Sanskrit and Veda. So he says that have you gone through such flights or such voyages, okay, in order to cover such deep waters as it is given in Sanskrit and Veda. So we know that Walt Whitman is an American poet, but this actually accounts to his knowledge, how informative he is about Indian philosophical systems, okay, especially Vedas, about Sanskrit and all. So in one of writing about Walt Whitman, Thomas Dixon, an English friend of him, had gifted him Gita as a Christmas gift. So Well, that knowledge is evident over here. So he says that the very word that is given in Sanskrit and Vedas, okay, it is there inside a Hindu philosophical system, that when you die, the soul has to fly high, or the soul has to go take a long journey, okay, passing many lands, okay, many caves, many seas, many rivers, okay. He has to overcome all these paths in order to meet and merge with the oversoul. So that is the point discussed over here. Okay, so if you are, okay, as it is given in the Sanskrit and Vedas, if you are ready, if you are confident to take such a kind of a journey, then have thy bend unleashed. Okay, you can start the journey right now. Well, passage to you, your shores, you aged fears enigmas. Passage to you, mastership of you, you strangling problems. So over here in this section, he bids farewell to everything in the world, okay, all the worries, all the enigmas. He says, passage to you, okay, you shores, you aged fears enigma. Enigma over here means the riddles, okay, the riddles the myriad progeny of Adam and Eve were trying to solve all this time. Passage to you, I am bidding goodbye to you because I am going to accomplish the divine union with the God, and I again bid farewell, okay, passage to you, to mastership of you, you strangling problems. Strangling problems over here means troubles of life. So life in this fallen land has made him a master of enigmas and a problem. So he is bidding farewell to those. You strewed with the wrecks of skeleton. Over here, there's a exoskeleton over him. Of course, the suffering of human beings. Okay, when you look down onto the world, that living never reached you. Okay, you strewed with. So you are possessed with those queries of human beings who are living, who could never ever reach you. Passage to more than India. So he says that, you know, in the beginning, it was just a passage to India as a spiritual land. India is conceived as a spiritual land. Over here, it differs. India is not just a spiritual land. Its passage to India moves on to become passage to God itself, the divine union with the God. A secret of the earth and the sky. So he is bidding farewell to all because he is the poet. He is going to unfold the secrets. So right now, bidding farewell to the secrets of the earth and sky. Oh, you waters of the sea, oh winding creeks and rivers. Okay, creeks, narrow inlets of water. Everything that makes this earth, I'm bidding farewell. Oh, you, oh woods and fields, of you, strong mountains of my land. Oh, you, oh prairies. Prairies are the vast green grasslands in America. Of you grey rocks, or morning red, or clouds, or rain and snows, or day and night, passage to you. So he's bidding farewell to each and everything in this earth. Or sun and moon and all your stars, Sirius and Jupiter, Sirius being the brightest star and Jupiter being the largest on the planet. Largest planet, passage to you. Passage, immediate passage. The blood burns in my veins. Okay, so he is on the verge of mystical union with the divine. So over here we could see a total surrender of himself to God. That's why he says my blood. Okay, it is burning in my veins by the very thought of the divine union. Away, O soul, hoist instantly the anchor. Okay, so he uses the metaphor of a ship over here. He is literally asking the soul to hoist instantly the anchor so that the ship will be moving forward. Cut the hawsers. Hawsers are the ropes for pulling the ship. Cut the hawsers. Haul out. Okay, pull out. Shake out every sail. Okay, because we are going to you are going into that journey. Okay, start. Have we not stood here like trees in the ground long enough? So this is the essential situation of a human being according to him. He says that we had stood over here like trees in the ground. Okay, tree is something that is rooted on the ground. It cannot move of its own. That was the stagnant position of human beings on earth. And now being as the poet, as the true son of God, he is going to break it. Have we not grovelled here long enough, eating and drinking like mere brutes? He refers to the life of sensation. Have we not darkened and dazed ourselves with books long enough? He talks about, okay, surrendering ourselves or surrounding ourselves with intellectual knowledge. We had spent too much of more than enough time in the lives of sensation, and many have spent too much of time in the life of intellectual knowledge, reading books, okay, imbibing knowledge as such. Right now it's a time you have to farewell to all these, okay, these twin surrender of life of sensation and this intellectual knowledge. Sail forth, steer for the deep waters only, okay, just steer only for the deep waters that you're going to pass. Reckless, O soul, exploring, I with thee and thou with me. We should be restless in going for that exploration. For we are bound where mariner has not yet dared to go, just because we are the first persons to reach over there. We are going to, get into a passage in which no other mariner had or a sailor had ever reached out or sailed forth, and we will risk the ship ourselves and all, and in that attempt, okay, in that divine ecstasy of meeting our soul, we are risking everything, the ship, ourselves and soul. And maybe there is another interpretation for this line, like when the individual soul is destroyed, it merges with the oversoul. So at, when the moment the soul meets the oversoul or the God above, we are going to get, risking ourselves, our own existence, okay. That soul will at once merge with the oversoul, okay. That may be what he's trying to tell over here too, okay. So he is risking everything. Oh my brave soul, but you shouldn't be frightened, you're brave. Oh my brave soul, oh farther safe, oh daring joy, but safe. Are they not all the seas of God? So he says that although he's traveling through these trackless seas, deep waters, okay, deep waters that may be having too much of mysteries inside, they do not know what is waiting for them over there, still they are safe because those are the seas of God. Then why should you worry? If you are going to meet God, if you're taking the path for the divine union of the God, then why should you worry? Oh, farther sail. So he actually imagines a spiritual journey upwards, and the poem closes. The line becomes shorter and exclamations become more frequent. We see it, matching the progress of the speaker from a singer to the poet. The lines move from a song to the prophecy of the true Son of God, that man will regain the paradisal state, that though it may be deferred, the prophecy will be fulfilled. So it's such a spiritual poem which sends goosebumps, okay, when we finish it. We just get amazed at the spiritual knowledge that Walt Whitman had possessed in his lifetime, okay. It is already given in that theme of body and the soul, okay. This soul actually reaches out onto the pleasures of the universe through your body, and we are consisting of our mind and the soul. I hope the points are clear. If you have any doubt, you may WhatsApp me or mail me. I have placed it in the description box. Thank you for listening.